Hey guys, welcome back to the Speed Freak channel. So today I'm going to get you guys involved with a project that I've been kind of tinkering with a little bit here and there. I'm like halfway through it, but I wanted to finish it with you guys so we could explain some of the details about what I'm building. And what I'm building is behind me. It is a puke tank, otherwise known as catch can. So this is the catch can that I built for my dragster. Okay, so these are the inlets for each side of the motor. They're 1.5 inches. And it goes into this tank. We kind of 90s down inside of it. Ends like probably somewhere right here. And anyway, that's just a place for your crankcase vent. And in my case, I actually also am going to vent the transmission here. So if you're curious, you're like, hey man, like what are you venting a big rig? You know, why is this thing so big? It's big because I believe I'm a little fuzzy on the details, but I know it's a rule in the NHRA for racing top dragster. You have to have a catch can that can hold either 75% or 100% of the engine oil that's in the motor. And that's especially important when you have something that's forced induction, whether it be like this, whether it's a Pro Charger, a root supercharger or a turbo or something like that. Something that, if you had a catastrophic failure, it could potentially push oil out through the breather and, either onto your tires or worse, or not worse, but on your tires or on the racetrack. So that's why it's so big. I think I calculated that one at, I don't know, it's a little over, I think it's like 1.5 gallons or 1.25 gallons or something like that. But anyway, so this is the one I'm working on for a friend of mine. He's also raced top dragster. He's had, it's gonna be this year, he's coming out with a new motor. It's gonna be a supercharged big block Chevy. This catch can is going on, like I said, on a top dragster. It's a little bit different configuration. This is the front where, the other one was turned around sideways, but it's got the same deal. We got a vent here for the transmission. It's going to be a little bit different. The breathers on his valve cover are 1.25 inches. So that's what, that's what these 90s are. I'm using 1.5 inches on mine. I don't really think there's that much of a difference between 1/4 inch. It's just, I use 1.5 inches. He wants 1.25 inches. I think either one is good enough for this, because let's face it, that's a lot of blow-by. If you got that much blow-by, you got a serious issue. But anyway, I just wanted to bring you along for the finishing process to this, because, we're going to fit these tubes. We're going to bead roll them. We're going to get them welded in. And, like I said, then at that point, we're going to put stubs in to put little filters on, just like the other one I showed you. And we're going to baffle it. I got a new idea for baffling the can, or baffling the exits, which is this plate here. This plate goes on top here. You'll see that here in a little bit. But I'm going to try something a little different. Not because there's anything wrong with it. I just like to experiment. I want to try new things, see if I can make it better, see if I can improve it. So let's dive right in. We're gonna get these tubes fit in. I'm gonna take a measurement from the bottom. I want the tubes probably about 3 inches off the bottom. So I'm gonna, like I said, we're gonna measure some stuff out, mark it up. We're gonna cut it on my big dual bandsaw, and we're gonna burn some rod today. So hang tight. I'm gonna get you guys all set up, and this probably be like a time-lapsey type thing. We're gonna try that and see how it makes out. So here we go. So here we go. We got that all, the inlets all welded on. Some of that was a little tougher than I expected, just being out of position and whatnot. We got the 90s in there dumping at the bottom. Now you'll notice as I was, fitting these tubes and measuring stuff and trying to get them all square and everything else, that I was messing around with like the tubing position. And at first I was trying to get them symmetrical, and this might have, I guess maybe my one mistake is that I put these too close together. So as you can see in there, I had to duck the 190 in the other one. So they don't dump in there symmetrical. As far as the height goes, they're both the same. At the end of the day, it is a catch can. Not making excuses for myself, but that's how I rationalized it. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't really affect performance at all. So our next project is going to be the lid, right? So we're going to cut some stubs, some little guys hanging out right there for our pod filters to hang out on, and that's where we're going to do some of our baffling. We're going to try some stuff. That might be the next video, or it might be the video after. I got to see how long this one ends up being, because as I'm sure you guys saw, I have to walk around a lot because the dragster takes up pretty much the entire garage, so I got to walk around it constantly. But anyway, we'll be back here in a minute and we'll see what goes on. Okay, so while this is cooling down, I'm going to take this out real quick so it doesn't get stuck while the aluminum's cooling. But I figured I'd take a quick break. I had to cut some stuff, weld some stuff. You guys already see me use the bandsaw once in this video, so no need for that. But anyway, so we had a 1/4 inch NPT bung welded in the bottom, and that's because the customer requested, depending on where I put it, requested that we put a drain valve in the bottom of it. Now, typically, what I like to do is I like to use an AN bung. I usually use a -6, and that's because, AN stuff, it seals good, it's easy to use. You grab an AN wrench, or, you can use a crescent wrench because you don't have to get it all that tight. This is what the customer wanted, so this is what we're going to put in. I don't like these because I'm sure anybody that's worked on a car has seen these. And what happens is after a couple years, they get all, crudded up, full of crap. And then the next thing you know, this little wing nut that's only pressed on there, with only the finest Chinesium materials, ends up spinning, and then you can't get it off, and you're taking you're breaking the pipe joint apart, and it just ends up turning into a pain in the rear. And I don't know. I don't like these, but this is what he wanted, so that's what he gets. But anyway, so what I got going on here, let's talk about the lid a little bit and talk about the baffling that we're going to do. So I cut these. These are 1.5 inches because it's pretty easy, and most parts stores have 1.5 inch pod filters. So if something were to happen at the racetrack, like it comes loose and it falls off, and you can't find it, or it goes flying into the abyss, and it ends up in the same place where your 10mm sockets are, you can get another one. So we're using 1.5 inches, and I welded on these little half pieces because we're going to use these to space a plate that we're going to cut off of the bottom of this, and that hopefully, what I'm thinking, will keep any direct fluid or mist or anything else from just being able to just shoot right out this pipe or this tube. So I haven't made it yet. I'm still thinking about a design. I think we're probably going to work that into this video. But we're rounding the corner. We're almost done. I got to finish. We're going to cut and weld this on. I'll take you along for the ride for that. And then we're gonna flip this puppy over. Obviously, these will facing down. They'll be sticking up like this. And we're going to weld that lid on, and that'll be done for the catch can. The only thing we got to do is, I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but I got to mount the front of this thing. The tabs on the back here are already located on some tabs that the customer already had on his chassis, so we were able to reuse those. And we got to do something with the front. I don't know if I'm going to end up doing it or if the customer's going to do it. We'll have to just see. Unfortunately, he lives a little bit farther than, you know, just jumping in the truck and heading over there real quick to check it. So we'll probably get back to how we mount the front of this later. But for right now, we're going to set all this stuff to the side. And we are going to take some measurements and see if we can make the baffle plate for this, for the lid. So here's what I'm thinking. I think I'm going to set you guys down for a minute. I'm going to get some stock cut, because that's just cutting a big square, so I can make it a little more manageable. And then I don't know what I think yet. I'm going to think about it a little more and I'll get back to you. Hold on a second. All right, guys. So I had to skip a couple steps on video because, well, I only get so much time per night out in the garage before I got to go take care of, you know, family stuff and, you know, get ready for my work day because, you know, I still work my full-time job, just like I'm sure a lot of you guys do. But anyway, so this is what I came up with. This is the lid to the catch can. And, you know, so, you know, this will be welded onto here. And then this is the baffle. And then these are, you know, right now this is just tacked on here because I wanted to take a break and show you guys what I had going on. So as, you know, I wanted to, before I set this on here, I wanted to show you guys, like, so I'm going to set this on here like that. Like so, right? It's going to look like that. There's going to be some sweet pod filters sitting on top here. Whatever the customer decides he wants to use. But anyway, so now, you know, you can kind of get a visual representation of what's going on here. So your crankcase is going to go in this tube, down to the bottom, right? And then it's going to, you know, probably swirl around or just, you know, do whatever it needs to do. And then it's going to travel up the can, and it's going to have to get around that baffle. And, you know, I bent down little legs. I have a sheet metal brake I'll show you one day. And I bent the little legs down to give it some more surface area to allow oil and everything else to collect. But that space around there, the area adds up to greater than 1.5 inches. So I'm not worried about any sort of flow restriction or anything. We got plenty of flow in and out of this can. But, you know, it gives the oil vapors somewhere to attach to before they come flying out of the tank. And the reason that I put these little half sleeves, these little spacers in here, which, side note, I cut these and I welded them on, and then I was sitting here looking at it. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty cool. I'm like, man, you know what I could have done to make that a lot easier on myself? I could have just cut those 5/8 of an inch longer, because that's how much is sticking down there, and, you know, notched the tubing and just welded the baffle right to the tubing. So, but anyway, side note, sometimes you just get in your head, right? You get locked into an idea and you don't, you know, hindsight's 20/20, right? So anyway, yeah, I just want to give you there a little inside shot of the can. All right, this is a big bastard, you know? So anyway, so I'm going to finish welding these out. I'm going to weld all the way around just to make sure that, you know, it doesn't fall apart, because, you know, solid, hardtail. There's no give in that sucker, or very little at the least. So anyway, that's going to about wrap it up. I'm not going to bore you guys with any more welding stuff. You know, I did weld these on here, all right? Not too bad, not too bad. Done better, seen better, but definitely seen a lot worse. So anyway, got that all finished up, and I'm going to buzz the lid on this thing after I finish welding the baffle one, and then that's going to be the end of this deal. You know, we might, like I said, I'm not sure what the customer and I are going to work out. You know, we're friends, so, you know, he may say, hey, just mail this thing to me and I'll mount the front of it, or I might mount the front. We'll just have to see what goes on. We'll have to see what we work out. The good news is that we got all winter, because it's November in the Northeast, so not much racing is going to be happening between now and I'd say about end of March, beginning of April if we're lucky. So you know, take it easy, guys. If you saw something you liked or you got any questions, or hell, if you got anything you want to add, be like, hey, you did that wrong. Or hey, how about doing it this way? I'm open to suggestions, you know? Like I said in the beginning of the video, I want to make stuff better. I want to make cool parts. I want to make them better. And, you know, if I can make them faster at the same time, that's cool too. If not, I'm not really worried about the time right now. But thanks for watching, guys. Drop a comment below if you feel like it. If not, I'll see you on the next one. You guys didn't think I was actually going to leave you hanging and not show you the finished product, did you? Come on. But anyway, here we go. I got the lid all zipped onto this guy. Let's zoom in there, right? Maybe. Thinking about it. Hey, there we go. All right. Not too shabby. Side note, guys, I don't know if I can get this thing to zoom. See this like black crud right here? Believe it or not, that is the Sharpie that I use to mark it. So, and I know better, but I was just in a groove and I was welding along and I got to that spot and I saw it come right out of the top of the aluminum. I was like, I'm dumb. But it's okay. The weld structurally sound. It's not going to leak. Just a little bit of dirt to weld. Anyway, look. So we got a little 1/4-inch airline fitting in there. We got our petcock all welded in, nice and done. Got the fitting in there. So this puppy's ready to get mounted on the car. Like I said, customer's got to get some pod filters. We got to figure out how we're going to hold the front of this thing up. Sorry about that. Had to wave that cord around. But yeah, man. She's ready to rip. This is a fun little project. I can't wait to see it on the top dragster it's going to be used on. But hey, guys. Thanks for watching. And I hope to see you again next time. See you later.